John Ekdahl joining us from Ace of Spades right now. How you doing, John?
Good. How's it going, Cam?
Good. Mayor Bloomberg's got a lot of money to throw around. Maybe he could sponsor that tour. It could be the One Hit Wonder Tour brought to you by Mayors Against Illegal Guns.
Maybe it's playing on his bus tour now.
You know what? Yeah. He probably, you know what? He probably could buy those guys for a day and just have them play at the tour. You came out with this story on Friday. I thought it was absolutely fascinating. Is Michael Bloomberg using city resources for Mayors Against Illegal Guns? And it's fascinating, John, because here's a billionaire. And the amount of money that we're talking about, provided by the city of New York, services provided by the city, really is not that much monetarily speaking, is it?
To recreate it, it wouldn't be. You're probably talking a couple $1,000s a month, perhaps, maybe less. But I think the real issue is how much it's costing the city of New York, because they have all the infrastructure, they have all the staff, administrators, pensions, salaries, the whole deal. So over the course of 6 years, that can probably get pretty expensive for the city.
And why not outsource your national agenda to the residents of New York? Because you can try to justify it that, hey, I'm doing this for you. Ultimately, right? Even though I'm going into Arkansas and into Nevada and North Dakota, I'm doing it for you New Yorkers.
I don't know that was ever properly communicated to the taxpayers. Everyone kind of shrugged their shoulders. Yeah, it's his personal deal. I don't think the city knew that they were funding it directly.
Oh, really? Okay, so Saturday, was it Saturday night that the city, Howard Wolfson started responding to you?
It was Thursday I started poking around. Friday I wrote the article, and then around 11 o'clock at night, Wolfson started tweeting about it and sounded pretty annoyed. So
11 p.m. on a Friday night. Not usually when city officials tweet about things that aren't important or aren't real stories, right?
No, and Bloomberg's press secretary jumped in as well to defend it.
And what's their defense?
Their defense is that the mayor can set the agenda. And so this is legal, and it was vetted, but how quickly they responded to it kind of raised an eyebrow for me. It was kind of all hands on deck, and a congressman from Brooklyn got in on it too, and he was pretty annoyed by it.
Well, it's interesting because this is not the first time that we've seen the mayor, involve New York City assets in his gun control push. In Nevada recently, Mayors Against Illegal Guns was pushing for a bill, Senate Bill 221, which was a background check bill. Bloomberg brought in 10 lobbyists to work on this bill in the state legislature. 2 of them apparently were registered with the Secretary of State with nyc.gov email addresses.
I did see that, and I think it's good to remember, what was it, about 2 years ago when they sent undercover New York City police officers to gun shows in Arizona and I think Colorado.
And Virginia and Ohio, yeah. And we've also seen Media Trackers, the group Media Trackers has done some excellent coverage. Gun bloggers like Sean Carena have talked about this as well. Mayors Against Illegal Guns going into city halls around the country from like Lewiston, Maine, Columbus, Ohio, there a lot of cities, and throwing some money for the city halls to hire regional gun coordinators or regional coordinators for Mayors Against Illegal Guns that are actually working out of these city halls. And in a lot of cases, either some of that money, some of the salary is paid for by taxpayer dollars, or in more cases, pensions are paid for by taxpayer dollars. And Bloomberg's anti-gun group is actually picking up the cost of the salary. But in essence, you're still putting people, who are answering to City Hall back in New York in city halls all around the country.
Yeah, it certainly raises some questions. And don't forget that the group was running attack ads against sitting senators, from Toomey to Kelly Ayotte. So it's, when you have, it just seems odd to me that would be legal for a local government to be able to, in a way, promote advertisements against politicians outside of the city.
I'm with you. I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I know this. I mean, Bloomberg is intent on throwing his weight around however he can, and using his position as mayor of New York John. I mean, it's always been part of his MO, whether it's on guns, whether it's on food, and frankly, I'm curious as well. We know that Mayors Against Illegal Guns is not his only issue. I actually wonder if some of his other pet issues and some of his other pet groups don't also have this similar relationship with the city of New York.
Well, I think that's why Politico jumped on this so quickly. I think is because they've been kind of frustrated. They've been chasing the general idea, not guns so much, but the general idea that Bloomberg crosses these lines way too regularly, and he doesn't have the distinction between what's his personal pet projects and what are the City of New York projects. So I think that they've been a little frustrated they haven't gotten much movement. Partially, I think because it's really hard to prove. But this one's cut and dry. It's right there. It's in the registration. It's on the servers. There's nothing. That's all the proof you need at this point. So I think that's why they chased it so aggressively.
And again, I just, for people who maybe say, well, what's a big deal? Just imagine the shoe on the other foot. Imagine a pro-gun mayor doing the same thing. Let's say the mayor of Dallas, Texas, or the mayor of San Antonio, or the mayor of El Paso. Going out and pushing a pro-Second Amendment agenda, go out and join the NRA, stand up for your rights. Again, using city services. I think the mainstream media would lose their mind.
Sure. I mean, you can take it to any issue. What if some city decided to do an anti-abortion push? There would be, I think it would get a little more coverage than this has, certainly. But it's been good to see it in some traditionally, liberal-leaning outlets. It was on CBS News. The story spread to CBS News on Saturday, I believe. Of course, Politico picked it up, and they're still looking into it. That's still an ongoing thing. BuzzFeed picked it up, which is good. So anytime you get to some of the liberal-leaning publications in there, it's usually there's going to be a little bit more movement on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, John, I appreciate you coming on the show, sir, and let us know any updates, will you?
Absolutely.
All right, man. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, Cam.
John Ekdahl joined us from Ace of Spades.